So you're saying this is a direct seeded site, Bernie?
Ashley Lewis seeded this about 6 years ago.
Yep.
Direct seeded. Combination of different plants. It's not 100% germination, but it's quite a good germination. And we've had a lot of feed off of this. And the blue bush is still there, which is good feed. The seeds last a long time, so there still could be, if we get a good summer, we still might get more plants coming up again anyway. Now whether if it was done with seedlings it would be better, I don't know, but I was pretty happy with it.
And this site isn't fenced off. What are your thoughts on the pros and cons of fencing for a site like this?
Ideally it should be fenced off.
Yep.
Because when it does get short and you've still got feed in the paddock, you tend to keep the sheep on it, hammers it a bit.
Yep.
But the cost of fencing is one of the biggest costs. But eventually we hope to have it all fenced and just to protect it a bit better. For a wheat stubble it's about a month for a head of sheep.
Oh yeah, yep.
So with the saltbush you can double it, so it makes, I'd say.
So you get that extended time.
Yeah.
And what did this site look like before it was direct seeded? Was there much cover on it? Or?
Well, it looked all right, and we used to try to crop it, but it wouldn't grow a crop of wheat or barley.
Yeah.
And it's just actually just looked the same as this without the saltbush, really. But I think there's more barley grass and a bit of ryegrass growing in the rows where you rip, so even ripping it would mostly give you a bit of a germination.
Yep.
See how it grows like that?
Yeah, those rip lines are pretty distinct, aren't they?
Yeah.
You got any thoughts of which of the saltbush species perform best on this site?
I like the old man saltbush.
Yeah.
Seems to grow, the sheep eat it. So, and the Rivermore, there's a bit of Rivermore seems to harder to germinate.
Yep.
I see, but the sheep like that. But I reckon old man saltbush is good. So that's what I'd recommend.
Yeah.
But Ashley seeds a mixture, which is mostly the good thing to do.
So a bit of a shotgun mix.
Yeah. A bit of Acacia saligna. Now, a few came up, but they can't stand the grazing.
Yeah.
So if you actually used his mix and had it fenced off, it'd look really good because you'd have a really good mix, but the sheep soon get rid of the ones that can't take it.
Yeah. So what are your plans for the future for this site, Bernie?
Just have it fenced off. Where you get areas where it's not as saltbush established, I'll mostly come along here and plant some by hand.
Oh yeah.
Fill it in. Some seedlings. When finances permit.
Well, that raises a good question in terms of what are some of the things that would help you in the future in making sure you've got sort of viable areas of saltbush across the farm?
Well, I don't know. We were talking about city people planting trees on farms. Well, that might be one good thing. They've got people that the carbon credits mob and that with paying for mallee or leasing the land for growing mallees.
Yep.
That maybe they might be able to do the same with saltbush. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how the grazing affects the carbon. Whether that's ever going to be a reality, I don't know. But people might not like to grow saltbush for my sheep to eat them. So
Yes.
it is costly, but I think you'd more than get your money back over the period of time.
Yep.
The Economist did a bit of a plan on that, but in that time, since they've done that in the last 10 years, like with the price of sheep up or down, the figures change.
Yeah.
So you just have to, if you want to plant them, and then hopefully it turns out. But even if we had this fenced off and just had the saltbush growing, it would look so much better.
Yep.
So even, that's one good reason for growing. Maybe we should have planted some more trees around it, but they have to be protected from the sheep. So
it comes back to that fencing cost again.
Yeah. Ideally, you'd have more trees.
Yep.
But it makes it harder to manage the grazing.